Hi there, my name is Nick, and I am the lead developer of Block Visibility. In this video, I'm going to give you a quick walkthrough of version 1.8 and show you some of the new functionality that is new in this version. So, as hopefully we all know, if you're a new user, please check out Block Visibility on WordPress.org. But as we all know, you can control the visibility of any block in the WordPress editor using this visibility tab on the side. Now, prior to version 1.8, whenever you would activate this panel, it would give you a default set of controls. Here we have date, time, user role, and screen size. Now you can always click on these three little dots to toggle the other controls that are available in the plugin. But the first three are always on by default. Now that can get a little annoying, especially if you only use certain controls all the time. So for example, maybe you only downloaded Block Visibility for the screen size option. So one of the things that we added was the ability to set defaults. So if we hop on over to the Block Visibility settings, under settings and then Block Visibility, you will see on the general settings page, you'll now see the default controls option. So if I was to deselect the others and only show screen size, update that here. Head back, give this a refresh. So when we click on a block now, a new block that doesn't have any settings saved, let's take this one for example. Now all we see is screen size. Now of course you can always click here and add additional controls as you need. But this just speeds up the user interface a little bit, so you're not always deselecting and selecting if you only use certain controls all the time. The second thing that was added from a usability perspective is the ability to reset controls. So let's say that you added a whole bunch of controls and you messed around and you set dates and times and all sorts of stuff. If you ever want to reset it to the default, you can just click on these three little dots, click Reset All. You'll be prompted to confirm the reset. Click that. And now you can see we're back to just the screen size option. And again, that's the default that whatever you've set in here. So hopefully that just makes your life a little easier as you're using Block Visibility. Now, the big ticket items for version 1.8 are an overhaul of the date and time control. And there'll be a dedicated video specifically about that, but I'll cover it quickly here. So now when we look at the date and time control, you now have the ability to add multiple schedules. Previous versions, you only could add a single schedule. Now you also have the ability to reverse the direction of the schedules using this hide when schedules apply. This allows you to hide the block whenever one of these schedules applies, as opposed to the default control where you show the block whenever one of these schedules applies. It's very helpful in different use cases. And then finally, you have some additional setting options for each schedule here. So again, there'll be a separate video about that where we dive into a little bit deeper, but that's a pretty big overhaul for date and time. And then the final one for any ACF or advanced custom fields users out there, we now have a direct integration with advanced custom fields. So when you enable this option, I'm going to disable these just to make it a little simpler. You now have this dedicated panel. Now, so for users who do not have ACF installed, this won't show up for you. So don't worry about useless features cluttering the interface if you don't actually have the plugin. But if you do have the plugin, this setting will be available to you. And here you can enable, this will pull in all your field groups. So I threw in a test field group with image, location, and color, but any field group that you create inside of ACF will be present in here that you can select from. And then it works if you're familiar with ACF, there's the condition controls within ACF. I tried to make it as similar to the native ACF controls as possible. So this should look fairly similar to you. You have all your options, has no value, any value, value equal to, value not equal to, so on and so forth. And then of course you can add multiple. So you can say if we wanted to say that if we wanted to show the block if an image has a value and maybe the color is set to contains red, I don't know, something like that. There's all sorts of fun things you can do with ACF, and the possibilities are endless. But anyway, all that functionality of ACF now comes to blocks. So any conditional visibility options you would want to be controlled by ACF's fields can now be applied directly to blocks. So I'm excited to see what people do with this. I'll admit I am not a avid ACF user myself, but this was a very common feature request, so I'm excited what people do with it. And then the final thing, of course, is you can reverse, very similar to what I talked about with the scheduling. Instead of show the block if these fields all apply, you can flip it around to hide the block if the fields apply. So hopefully people find that useful. That was a very quick overview of version 1.8. If you haven't given block visibility a try, I encourage you to do so. It's for free, and it's available over on the WordPress.org plugin repository. Thanks for watching.